There is a voice inside your head. You're hearing it right now. It comments on your thoughts, narrates your choices, judges your actions, explains your feelings, and tries every second to guide your life. It feels like you. It sounds like you. It thinks like you. But here's the truth we rarely consider. The conscious mind you identify with is only a tiny part of your actual mind. A fragment, a spotlight in a vast, dark theater. Yet somehow, this small spotlight believes it is directing the entire show. This is the story of how the conscious mind controls us, or rather, how it believes it does. A story about the difference between the mind we think we have and the mind that actually runs our lives. Let's begin. In the one place we never look, the space between our thoughts. When you look at your life, it feels like you're in control. You choose your goals. You decide your actions. You guide your days. The conscious mind takes credit for everything. I decided to do this. I made this happen. I chose this path. It calls itself the captain of the ship, the one steering, the one navigating, the one responsible. But neuroscience shows something astonishing. Most decisions are made before the conscious mind becomes aware of them. Your brain chooses first. Your conscious mind explains after. This is not a flaw. It's how the mind evolved. The conscious mind is not the captain. It is the narrator, the storyteller, the interpreter. Imagine a microphone placed in front of a river, and the river speaks, even though it isn't aware of the microphone. That microphone is the conscious mind. It narrates the flow, but it does not create it, yet it believes it does. This belief is the illusion of control, and this illusion shapes everything you do. The conscious mind works like a spotlight. It can illuminate only a tiny part of the whole mental landscape. And what lies outside that spotlight is vast, powerful, invisible. Your subconscious manages your memories, your habits, your fears, your attractions, your impulses, your survival instincts, your emotions, your intuition, your biases, your learned patterns, your deepest conditioning. It is the ocean. The conscious mind is a floating lantern. You can think only one thought at a time, but beneath that thought are thousands of processes happening automatically. You don't consciously beat your heart. You don't consciously digest food. You don't consciously remember millions of details. You don't consciously regulate hormones. Most of your emotional reactions begin in the subconscious and reach the conscious mind only as a feeling, a tension, a sudden thought, a flash of intuition, a whisper of fear. Yet the conscious mind says, "This emotion is mine. This thought is mine." But it isn't. It is simply the first thing the spotlight sees, after the mind has already moved. The conscious mind is late to its own life, and it doesn't know. If the conscious mind is not in control, what is its job? Its job is meaning. The subconscious acts. The conscious mind explains. It interprets your motives. It builds your identity. It justifies your actions. It creates a story of who you are based on what you've already done. Psychologists call this the interpreter mechanism. Let me give you an example. You walk into a room and feel uneasy. Your conscious mind says, "I don't like the atmosphere here." But the feeling came first. Perhaps your subconscious noticed a detail, a closed-off face, a certain tone, a memory trigger, something too quick for conscious processing. You leave the conversation early. Your conscious mind says, "I just wanted some air." Again, the explanation comes after the action. You are not lying to yourself. You are translating yourself. The conscious mind is like a historian writing about events it never witnessed, using clues, logic, fragments, and the need for coherence. It will always invent an explanation that feels true, and that explanation becomes your identity. Why does the conscious mind talk to us all day? Because it is terrified of silence. Silence is the moment the conscious mind realizes it is not in control. So it fills the gap. It produces commentary, analysis, judgment, worry, daydreams, what-ifs, scenarios, self-criticism, predictions. It does this to maintain the illusion. I am running this life. But here's the paradox. The conscious mind's chatter is not control. It is fear. It fears its own emptiness. It fears its own fragility. It fears that the subconscious is doing things without permission. So it talks, it narrates, it explains. It does anything to avoid noticing how small it actually is. Your conscious mind wants to feel important because it is the only part of your mind that feels like you. But the self is mostly subconscious. The conscious mind is the storyteller who desperately wants to be the author. Let's imagine something simple. You pick up a glass of water. The conscious mind says, "I chose to do that." But the real sequence is, your subconscious detected thirst before you consciously felt it. Your subconscious initiated movement. Your conscious mind became aware only after your body had already begun the action. Then you tell a story. "I decided to pick up the glass." This happens with almost everything. Your likes, your dislikes, your attractions, your impulses, your habits, your fears, your intuitions, your move towards someone, your move away from someone, your decisions you think were rational but were emotional. The conscious mind explains decisions it did not make. It believes it is steering the ship, but the steering wheel is not connected to anything. This doesn't mean humans are powerless. It means we misunderstand where power actually lies. The conscious mind is not the controller. It is the listener, the witness, the narrator, the interpreter. Real control comes from understanding the deeper parts of yourself, the parts you do not see. Your subconscious mind controls you through rules you don't even know you follow. Rules formed long ago, from childhood, from fear, from early experiences, from trauma, from reward, from repetition, from society, from memory, from survival instinct. These rules include: don't trust people who act like that. Stay away from situations like that. Be careful when someone uses that tone. Don't take risks like last time. People might judge you. Don't show emotion. Don't disappoint them. Prove yourself. Avoid conflict. Be liked or be alone. We live by these rules without realizing they are not universal truths. They are emotional fossils, shaped by moments of pain, moments of fear, moments of learning. Your conscious mind cannot override them by force. It can only negotiate with them when you become aware that they exist. Awareness is the first step toward freedom. If the subconscious runs so much of our life, does that mean we are powerless? Not at all. In fact, the conscious mind has one enormous ability that no other creature possesses. It can reprogram the deeper mind, not instantly, not easily, not by force, but through repeated awareness, reflection, understanding, and new experience. You cannot control every thought, but you can influence which thoughts become habits. You cannot erase old fears, but you can create new meanings. You cannot silence your subconscious, but you can teach it to work with you instead of against you. The conscious mind cannot control everything, but it can guide the subconscious like a lighthouse in the dark. This guidance is what humans evolved for. Awareness is not control. Awareness is influence, and influence is power. There is a form of consciousness that humans rarely use, yet it is our greatest tool, the ability to step back and observe the mind instead of being swallowed by it. The moment you observe a thought, you are no longer trapped in it. The moment you witness an emotion, you are no longer consumed by it. The moment you notice a fear, it loses its authority. The moment you hear the inner voice as a voice, not as truth, it becomes quieter. You are not your thoughts. You are not your fears. You are not the narrator in your mind. You are the awareness that hears all of it. And awareness is the only part of the mind that is truly free. The conscious mind cannot control the mind, but it can understand it, and understanding changes everything. You don't need to control every thought, just the ones you believe. You don't need to control every emotion, just the ones you cling to. You don't need to control every impulse, just the ones you act upon. Control is not force. Control is clarity, and clarity begins when you realize this truth: your conscious mind is not the commander of your life. It is the curiosity that shapes the map of who you become. The subconscious may carry the past, but the conscious mind chooses the future. Together, they create the story that only you can live. Your conscious mind is small, but it is powerful. It cannot steer every moment of your life, but it can choose how to interpret those moments. It cannot silence fear, but it can shine a light on it. It cannot rewrite the past, but it can transform what the past means. It cannot control the entire mind, but it can guide the part of the mind that controls everything else. And perhaps that is what it truly means, to be human, not to dominate the mind, but to understand it, not to control every thought, but to choose which ones shape your world. This is Originify, where we explore the hidden origins of the mind, the stories we live, and the truth behind why we feel what we feel. Keep wondering, keep questioning, keep listening to the quiet voice that is trying to understand itself.